Please join me in welcoming the editors, well, the people who brought Gone with the Pope back from the brink of cinematic oblivion. This is Chris Innis and Bob Murawski. So maybe you can just start by telling us about Mr. Mitchell and what his background was and where he came from.
Duke Mitchell actually was a lounge singer. He was a nightclub performer, and that's primarily what he did. He basically was an entertainer, and had a movie career in the 50s. He co-starred in a movie with a guy named Sammy Petrillo called Bela Lugosi Meets a Brooklyn Gorilla, and he and this guy Sammy Petrillo. It was when Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis were sort of at the height of their popularity. And Duke Mitchell and this guy Sammy Petrillo had a knockoff act, which was basically Duke was like the straight man, the Frank Sinatra character, or Dean Martin character, and Sammy Petrillo was like the fake Jerry Lewis. Right. And they sort of did it in the 50s when Bela Lugosi was sort of at the end of his career, around the time he was doing Plan 9 from Outer Space. And I had seen the trailer, and when you see the trailer, it's like a fake Dean Martin Jerry Lewis movie. It's like you look at it and you go, I never heard of this one, and well, that guy's not really Dean Martin, and that guy's not Jerry Lewis, but they were doing this weird imitation, and they actually got sued by Paramount and I think Jerry Lewis, and had to disband the act. And then Duke, I guess, just continued to be a nightclub performer throughout the 60s, and he came back in the early 70s with a movie that was called Massacre Mafia Style, which you guys saw the trailer for. Which was released in the early 80s on video as The Executioner. It was basically The Godfather on a $50,000 budget. It was like he saw The Godfather and he said, hey, I can make a better movie than that, I'm Italian. And made this incredible movie that me and my friend Bill Lustig, who was another filmmaker, and my partner Sage Sloan sort of became obsessed with. And wanted to, find the movie and find Duke Mitchell after seeing the movie, and we wanted to release the movie. And Bill was trying to find Duke, and we found out that Duke had died in '81, but we found his son in Hollywood, and went over and met Duke's son Jeff, and said, oh, we're such big fans of your father. We love this movie, Massacre Mafia Style, that he did. And Jeff said, well, I don't really know what happened to that movie, but I have this other movie that my dad made afterwards that he shot and never finished. And if you guys want to try to take it and do something with it, go ahead. And we went down to his parking garage, and he had a storage closet down there, and he had like 10 boxes of film with all these old film cans. And in it were all the negative and sound and a really rough assembly of the work picture for Gone with the Pope. But it had been shot and sort of really roughly put together, but never finished. Duke's filmed it in late 1975 and early 1976, mostly on weekends. They would rent the camera on a Friday and take it back Monday, so they could get the camera basically for a one-day rental. And shot it over a series of 10 different weekends, and whenever he got money, whenever he had time, or basically I think whenever he could get people together and get enough money together to shoot. And then never really finished it, and then Duke died in '81 of lung cancer, and the movie was unfinished.
So to what degree, when you found it, was it had things been assembled? I mean, as your work as an editor had already been begun by others who were credited on the film.
Yeah, there were two editors. The first editor was a guy named Bob Layton, who actually went on to become a really major editor. He's cut all Rob Reiner's movies, starting with Spinal Tap, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, Stand By Me. I mean, he's become a great editor. It was his first movie. And another guy, Bob Layton, who's...
Robert Florio.
Or Bob Florio, who did a lot of TV shows like Lost, and has been nominated for a lot of Emmys and things. But those guys, it was just a really, really rough assembly. It was 17 reels long, 17 10-minute reels. And everything was just basically really crudely put together. The sequence where they sailed to Rome on the boat was like a full reel. The skiing sequence at the end was a full reel. And I think those guys were sort of working on it in their spare time because they had day jobs, and they would go over to Duke's house at night and just start to put the thing together, but then at some point the project just fizzled out and nobody ever finished it. And of those 17 reels, 5 reels in the middle were missing. So everything where they go to get the Rome, kidnap the Pope, get back on the boat when the Pope performs the miracles and you know, has the scenes with the guys. Those scenes were all missing, so we found the negative for those and basically reprinted everything from scratch and cut that stuff.
And you assembled all of that stuff.
Yeah, but everything, we actually found the negative for everything, which was great. And just basically worked on it over the years trying to make some sense out of it. There really wasn't a script per se. It was written on
napkins and
no, legal pads and cocktail napkins and the backs of envelopes and I would find these big pads of paper where we had these scenes like, you know, dialogue written on magic marker that I guess were like cue cards for the guys, because I think all the guys were non-actors basically in the movie. And because he was a nightclub performer, he knew everybody. So he knew all these casino owners and nightclub owners and everything else, and that's why he had all these great locations. You know, he knew guys who, you know, worked at the racetrack and places
owner
in
of that yacht.
Yeah, Palm Springs, the owner of the yacht who
owned Budget Rent-A-Car.
Owned Budget Rent-A-Car, and the yacht used to belong to Dick Powell, I guess, before this guy owned it. So anyway, Duke was one of these guys who was loved by everybody and who knew everybody. So that's basically how he got his locations and why he was able to shoot in so many places. And I guess in exchange, he would give these guys little parts in the movie.